let's first address the big elephant in the room. What is put South Africa first? We have said it over and over again that put South Africa first, it's an ideology. And it's an ideology. I remember clearly a lot of people have said or have been saying, why don't you guys unite and form one big organization? But with that, we have always said that we run the risk of being captured. Because when you are one big organization with central leadership, it's easy for the government or any other people with nefarious minds to come and capture the top leadership. And once they've captured the leadership, you start losing focus. So bearing that in mind, we have always operated on the mode of we have multiple or many NPC or NPOs that all subscribe to one ideology, and that one ideology is to put South Africa first. So we are not going to have one leadership, we are not going to have one king, we are not going to have one person who says it and everybody follows. We are not going to have CIC within the Put South Africa First movement. But we always collaborate. When there are activities or programs, all those NPOs put their differences aside and support each other. Why am I saying this? There was a misunderstanding between Kwena and Victoria sometimes, and people wanted to blow it out of proportion and say, yeah, you see, we told you, this will not work. Let's repeat and let's make sure that we are on the same page. Put South Africa First is an ideology, and we have many NPOs or NPCs that subscribe to that, and all of that have their own individual or separate programs that they run those programs. But from time to time, we do have sessions where we strategize as one big group. But in terms of leadership, we have made it clear that we are not going to have one big organization with one leadership. And it's easy as well for the government to target individuals if you have one big group. And it's easy as well for Zimbabweans and Nigerians to come and buy that leadership. We have seen it many over and over again that once you have a structure like that, you have those Nigerians or Zimbabweans with their Morange Diamonds mine. They will come and offer your leadership a lot of money. And once your leadership gets a lot of money, they will start speaking in tongues. So that, I'm sorry to disappoint a lot of people in that. We are never going to have that. And by the way, we are always, as part of, and we accept it, we acknowledge it, and we are always going to have differences. But those differences, I'm sure a lot of people are surprised that people differ, but a day or two later, they are on the same page, they are moving ahead. We all understand that what is important is the message. What is important is what we are fighting for. It's not me as an individual. And I've been saying that, and Kwena has been saying that a lot of times, that it is not about cult personality. It's not about having a CIC at the top. This movement is for all South Africans. We are all fighting one common enemy, and that common enemy is illegal immigrants. And who is allowing that to happen? It's our government, and we are not going to allow that. We are not going to allow our government to get away with that. As for the people who are always sending me inboxes and DMs saying, no, put a word out or two about Zuma, I'm sorry. I'll repeat and I'll say it again. We are not that. We are not some RET grouping here. We are not a Tumamina grouping here. We are not RET or cult. We are not a cult or Ratanang grouping or EFF grouping. No, we are not that. This is put South Africa first. Our focus is for South Africans and South Africans only. So if you somehow think that you will want this movement to be a Zuma movement or to be a Ramaphosa movement, I'm sorry, you're at the wrong place. Don't even waste my time, because what I will do most cases when you send me those DMs, if you are making a sense, I will respond to you. If I see that it's somebody who's reasoning, I will respond to that. But if you are not, I'll quickly just delete and move on, because we are not that. So don't even try to do that. But by the way, we are the first people who, when somebody's doing good, we will be happy to congratulate that. Just like Aaron Mutwaledi, we congratulate him because we can see the man is working hard. The man seems to be the only voice within the cabinet who is saying, guys, we can't allow this country to go on like. So guess what? We will give him 100% support. The same happened when we vote, when we all went out and say, let's go and vote for people like Patriotic Alliance or Action SA because they believe in what we believe in. And unashamedly, we are going to support such people. But please don't ask us to support others because you are getting tenders or you think you'll get tender. If no, we are not for that. This movement is for the South Africans, and it's important that we are all on the same page on that. And by the way, I've received a lot of messages over the past 2 days. People saying, and I've deleted and told them, please don't bother. People saying, no, but you know what? If you can see Lindiwe Sisulu is under attack and all. I always say to them, I'm not some idiot. I know Lindiwe Sisulu has been in government for the past 27 years and she has nothing to show. And by the way, the same Lindiwe is the one who actually went and hired Dlamini. Dlamini was hired by Lindiwe Sisulu. Are you telling me we didn't have South African graduates who could be employed in that position? And she was the one saying she doesn't want anyone to talk about Dlamini being a foreigner, from Swaziland. And now you suddenly want me to support such an individual. I'm not even going to go to the fact that her husband it's a foreigner. I'm not even gonna go into that. I mean, that is another debate altogether. That we're going to have. If you have her as a president, you are suddenly going to have the first gentleman being some foreigner. I'm not even gonna go to that. It goes against everything that we fight for as Put South Africa First. So don't even waste your time and ask us to have a word or two or have sympathy because we have none, and we are happy to keep it that way. The point that we want to talk about, and it's important, we want to talk about the Zimbabweans who are, Elmo captured it so well. The Zimbabweans who are suddenly feeling that, you know what, because they've given some diamonds or some gold to some politician, they can suddenly rule this world. And by the way, for those who are thinking that's far-fetched, no. Some of us are old enough to remember when this Bangladesh, the Pakistanis and the Somalians and the Ethiopians first came in, they were selling these towels, walking around, observing how things are working. And before you know it, guess what? They took over the entire economy. So the Zimbabweans are also identifying the space. They are realizing that, you know what, it looks like we can actually move into every town and open a branch, a ZANU PF branch. After opening a ZANU PF branch, we will then move to each village. And guess what? We have branches in village. And the ANC guys, you know what? They are all after money. We give them money. Before you know it, we have a ZANU PF president here in South Africa. I know some think, well, that's far-fetched, but you know what? We have seen how the ANC government allows these foreign actors to come in and take over. I was in one of the space, I think it was a day or two ago. I was one on some Kenyan guy was saying, I knew he really got a lot of people worked up. He was saying, no, South African men are weak. And some guys try to defend that and say, no, we are not weak. I actually went back home and thought about it long and hard. I actually realized that maybe he has a point. South African men are weak. And it's about time, as I'm a man as well, it's about time that we raise our hands and accept that we are weak. I'll even give an example. If you look at, we are the last country to get independence in Africa. That can't be a coincidence that we were the last one. And in case you're thinking, no, maybe this, by the way, the entire Put South Africa First movement is dominated by women. Women, if you talk about Put South Africa First, you are most likely to be accepted by women than men. If you see our marches, who attends more? It's women. So it may be, and in our leadership, you check in our leadership on all these NPOs that we're talking about that subscribe to put South Africa first. They are dominated by women. When we have our spaces, guess what? Guess who want to take the mic and speak? And it's women. So maybe it's true that South African men are generally weak, and we just don't want to accept that fact. Where else in the world have you ever seen people? Can you imagine South Africans going to Angola or going to Nigeria and dominate Nigeria? I can't see that happening. The Nigerian men won't allow that. Can you see South African men going to Kenya and take over Kenya? No ways. The Kenyan men won't allow that. But here we have a lot of men who are accepting that and they don't see anything wrong with it. You know, Madi Witu said something that it really touched me a couple of weeks ago. He said, guys, have you ever thought about it? These guys come in here without women, without nothing. And guess what? If you go to every spaza shop, you won't see a woman. You'll see the Somali and the Bangladesh, they only bring men. What happened to women? Don't they? Come on, let's just use common sense or logic. Something must tell us as men, South African men, that something is wrong. Then you have Mbalula who goes to Ivory Coast, and they are laughing at him as a minister of transport, trekking to Jerusalem, and he's excited. Meanwhile, the Zimbabweans and other foreigners in this country are destroying the railway system, and you are happy about that. And guess what? Every time we talk about this, South African men will be the first one to tell you, no, you mustn't talk about it. You mustn't say things like this. So I'm thinking, why don't we have South African women saying that? So it's about time that we acknowledge that South African women are stronger than South African men. We are ultimately, I mean, really, let's as men, every man who's listening to me, just make peace with it and just go and look. Why do you think the rape culture is high in this country? Because we don't want to accept that our women, they beat us in intelligence, the reasoning. They are more emotionally, they are more mature than men. Because now, look, if you go to every industry in this country, you'll find it's dominated by foreign men. You go to academic, it's dominated by foreign men. You ask yourself, these guys, the ANC in NEC, what do they talk about? Don't they talk about things like this? And now, mark my words, it's 2022. Unless we fight to reverse this country will be governed by a ZANU PF member. Very soon, you will have those branches collaborating with ANC branches. Mark my words, you will see that happening. And then we'll start asking ourselves, how did that happen? And guess what? We'll do nothing. We don't have the Shaka Zulu of the old. Man, these days, we don't have that. Shaka Zulu died many, many years ago, and we don't have a replacement for that. Now you have men, all of them standing up and defending foreigners for what I can't really make sense of it. But okay, enough. Let me give others a space. I've said a mouthful. If I'm missing something, someone will remind me about that. Right at the end, just remind me there's an announcement about the invitation that we got from one of the political parties that we will be attending. And like we always say, we are open. We will explain it to everybody who is in the space that we are attending that. And as for other Put South Africa First, especially that of Nota Baloyi, anybody who knows Nota will know that it's just a joke. You can't take that serious. He's singing about black men in SADC and black men in Africa. Yeah, of course, Nigerian men and Zimbabwean men have taken over this country, and he's still singing about that. Sorry about that, guys. Let me give a mic to somebody who wants to take it.